Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving,
I don't wanna take advice from fools.
You always won every time you placed a bet.
Money, that's what I want.
Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. Folks, I share with you all of my secrets. I'm going to share you some of my handicapping secrets, a clipboard in the NFC Championship game in a moment. You know, lately I've been trying to do some of those videos in the long shirts, but if you've been watching my videos for a couple years, you know that I've confessed to you, I got itching issues, so I said, let me try the short sleeve shirts. That way, those of you playing at home, playing the drinking game, every time that Joe Duffy scratches himself, you drink a beer, you're not going to get quite as buzzed in this video. We hope not anyway. Let's take a preview of the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is 3.5 with a total of 39. And here are the most important secrets of all that I'm going to share with you. The sports betting clipboard. Both teams increased their rushing totals in the playoffs. That's actually the case with the AFC Championship game. Hopefully you got that preview as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, etc. But the best thing to do is on Twitter. Everything is at offshoreinsiders.com, left-hand rail, how to subscribe to us, because you can get it in real time if you subscribe to us in Twitter. San Francisco has increased their rushing totals from 147 yards per game, and that is up from 138 during the regular season. Now, this game is quite demonstrative. In fact, I think the next quote-unquote evergreen video I'm going to do is how I want to re-emphasize that handicapping totals is a lot more about handicapping pace than it is offensive or defensive competence. And here, you get to drink your first beer now. But Seattle is 5th in the league in points per play. San Francisco is 7th. Now, that would imply it should be a pretty high total, right? No, it's not. Why? Because Seattle is 29th in plays per game. San Francisco is 31st. Both of these teams have the ball control smash mouth running backs. Both of them have quarterbacks who can run the ball. Both of them have good wide receivers. They're both quite efficient. Colin Kaepernick is 1-2 straight up as a starter versus Seattle. Compare that to 20-5 straight up against the rest of the league. So obviously Seattle has had his numbers. Is it statistically significant? Well, that's for us to judge, right? San Francisco gets 0.3 more yards per rushing attempt and 0.5 more passing yards per attempt than their opponents normally allow. Meanwhile, Seattle 0.2 more rushing yards per attempt and 1.0 more passing yards per attempt. Now, in defense, San Fran is above average, holding teams to 0.3 yards per rushing attempt and 0.5 per pass attempt below their normal average. Seattle 0.1 rushing yards per attempt below. That means they're pretty good against the run, but outstanding against the pass, where they hold teams to 1.2 fewer yards per pass. Now, Percy Harvin, his status is going to be determined for sure later in the week. As we follow this, looks like he should be playing for Seattle, but again, that's quite frankly subject to change between now and game time. San Fran has won 8 consecutive games. That is the longest current winning streak in the NFL. They've won 13 of their last 15. Seattle, the number 1 defense in the NFL this season, statistically has not allowed more than 19 points in any of its past 6 games, allowing just 11.2 points per game over that stretch. The 49ers have the number 5 defense in the league. They've allowed 15.2 points per game in their past 10. Seattle has averaged 145 yards passing in their last 5 games and only 20 points in that span. But again, they've been low-powered. If you dig deeper, though, their statistics say they've been very efficient. Wilson, 2 home games versus San Francisco. Russell Wilson, that is, only 23 out of 40 for 5 touchdowns, but just 2 interceptions. Seahawks have outscored the 49ers 71-16 in those 2 home games. Kaepernick, the most blitz quarterback in the NFL since 2012, but not against Seattle. Seattle's decided to defend him with a 4-man rush. Kaepernick completed 49.3% of his passes against a standard pass rush, 64.4% against the rest of the league. So that 49.3 is against the Seahawks, but 64.4 against the rest of the league. So Seattle can play a safer defense against Kaepernick and be successful than most teams do. Most teams have found they got to blitz him, Seattle says, no, we don't necessarily have to. They've had success with a standard rush. Now here are some spread betting trends. All records are against the spread. Let's start it out with the series trends. The home team's covered 7 out of 10. Seattle is 4-1 in the series at home. In fact, they've actually covered 4 straight overall. San Francisco, however, is 10-1 on the road against teams with a winning home record. 8-1 overall on the road. 11-5 to the NFC. But they are 37-18 their last 56 overall. There's a push thrown in there. Normally exclude pushes when we give you these records. Seattle is 8-2 their last games following a spread loss. 12-4 against teams with a winning record. 25-10 on field turf. 37-18 at home. You want the spread winners in these games? Same place you got to go every single solitary day. Baseball season's just around the corner. As you know, Joe Duffy's Picks has been the undisputed king of the underdog and small favorite going back to our score phone days. Always the place to go for winning picks. www.offshoreinsiders.com. www.offshoreinsiders.com.